It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I instantly had an emotional reaction, bust down into tears. I don't know if it was validation, and then we kind of had that moment of like, did you see that? Are we on the same page here?
You're posting this really interesting footage online, mostly on X that I've seen. And I'm like, okay, who's this guy?
So yeah, here's that fast one once more. And I wanted to show the little green pulse at the end when we do a slow-mo zoom here. Right here at the end.
Hi guys, it's Jimmy here from the UAP Files. Now, I've been really looking forward to sharing this one with you. The following is a conversation with Kyle Vidmar. Now, Kyle is a veteran US Air Force meteorologist and DevOps engineer. He supported the 175th Fighter Squadron, the A-10s, out of Warfield ANG Base during his enlistment. Kyle started noticing anomalies over his house in winter 23 to 24, at which time he started recording 3 hours of footage a night on a SIONYX Aurora Night-Vision-to-Color camera. He analyzes the footage and posts it directly to his X account the following day. Kyle has developed an incredible app thanks to his other skills behind the keyboard, and we'll talk about this project, UFO Battler, and show you how it works. In this episode, we talk through Kyle's experiences, sightings, and show you some of his best footage, and we'll get into what the phenomena could be and how it interacts with us. So, the following is a conversation with Kyle Vidmar. Look, I'm really interested in your background, first of all, and I wonder if it's okay if you can give us a bit of an idea of your background and how you kind of got into the UFO UAP subject. If there was an event that sort of piqued your interest, if you can go into that'd be great.
Yeah, sure, man, sure. So let's first talk about a little bit of my background. So in 2008, I enlisted in the United States Air Force. I did so as a meteorologist. I was enlisted as up to a sergeant from 2008 to 2014. Was stationed at the 175th Fighter Squadron at Warfield National Guard Base right here outside Baltimore, Maryland. So close to home for where I'm currently am. I'm currently like 10 minutes away from there. Regardless, though, I did leave in 2014. So if I am talking meteorology, I'm dusting off some cobwebs. Not going to lie to you. Since then, I've been all over the IT space, IT realm. Just kind of ramping up on DevOps and automation and hosting and all these kinds of tech practices, which is what I currently do. But yeah, I mean, my experience in the Air Force was great. I definitely lacked direction because I graduated in 2007 from high school. So I enlisted 1 year later, tried college for a bit. And, you know, in high school, I was able to get away with just kind of not doing a lot of homework and passing. And that was not the case once you get to college. So I needed to find something for me. And that was a great one because it gave me, really drilled home the dedication that I needed to kind of be successful in my life and my career. So very thankful for my time in the Air Force. But I learned all about weather, learned about how, frontal systems work and how we actually gather weather using balloons and how, we report weather to pilots using METAR code. So I was in charge of that and doing some of that. And I guess I should say I was supporting the A-10s out of Martin State. So they're close air support planes. They fly in the, 5 to 15K range, usually over target. And one of the really cool things that you get to do in meteorology is you have to know a little bit about munitions because, I'm supporting the A-10s. They're coming in with certain types of munitions, be it heat-seeking, laser, or just visual. And you need to know at what point the temperature on, let's say, a tank will change from hot to cold in the current weather. And then if you're doing laser, you need to know haze and fog and cloud coverage at low levels because you're going to be pinging it with a laser. So all kinds of cool stuff like that kind of flooded into and bled the lines of meteorology for me a little bit. But I did get out and join the IT space. And I'm going to tell you at this point, still very, very not interested in UFOs at all. This was like 2014. This was, after days of doing hourly METAR observations. So you're going out to the flight line every hour that you're on the clock, looking up, doing visual analysis using a tool called Kestrel 3000, which does wind measurements. She has a laser on it, does temperature, dew point, things like that. So after doing all that, still no interest in UFOs, all my time looking up, until 2023 Grush. So 2023 Grush comes around and I was ontologically shooketh, so to speak. Not necessarily right off the rip, but I watched his News Nation article and I had done no research into UFOs before this. I'm thinking every single one of them's a crazy farmer or just some guy on a fishing expedition late at night, by himself, always by himself, not always, but
Yeah.
I just took in all this information all at once from like June 03 to December 03 or 2023, sorry. And just really was like, wow, there's something to this. These are not crazy people. These are seasoned veteran pilots. I mean, somehow the 2017 article just flew over my head. Somehow maybe I had the blinders up still. But once the blinders come down, it's weird how this topic just changes you a little bit. Not always for the better even, but just it requires you to kind of look inside a little bit and just see what you actually think. And you're wading through all this disinfo, and it's a very tough topic to get involved with. And so that 6-7 months, I'm ingesting all this media, and by the end of it, I'm totally burnt out on watching the same kind of topics over and over, the same kind of talking heads. So I decided, okay, well, let's take it one step at a time. Let's say the government did disclose. What would be the next thing that I would do personally? Well, for me, it would be engaging once I figure that out. So I just let's just assume it's real. Let's try to engage with the phenomenon. So in January 2024, February, I bought a SIONYX Aurora camera. Here, a little plug. I'm not sponsored, but it's a night-vision-to-color camera, posted up on a tripod most clear nights, somewhere between 2 to 3 hours. For the first hour or so, usually I'll engage, meaning chill out there with the camera, maybe look up, have a conversation with the sky. And it's crazy how quickly that turned into fruitful recordings for me. And I don't know, when people use the term like experiencer, it would kind of make me cringe a little because I didn't want to feel special or anything. And I felt more of an observer. But it's weird because the more and more that you engage, the more that you just can't shake this notion in your head that there's something to the consciousness element of the phenomenon. And I guess that's why it's so murky. Because I've always said if it was truly nuts and bolts craft, we'd have disclosure by now. There's just no reason to not have disclosure if it's truly nuts and bolts craft. Just nuts and bolts craft. I'm sure there are craft, but so that's long-winded for me, man. You know me.
No, that's cool. I like that. So you've had this interest peaked. You're getting outside. You've got some tech with you. You've got a tech background and a sort of environmental background from a scientific perspective, and so you're out there. At what point do you start seeing things? So is it immediately? Is it, do you have to start kind of building upon some kind of process, or is it just I'm out there, I've got good intentions, and then bang, I'm capturing things?
I would say there were definitely a couple of nights because before I got my nice camera, I did go out with, like an iPhone 16 or 15 at the time, whatever it was, and attempt to record with that. And, you'd see a couple things, maybe 2 low-flying things in the sky, but you can barely see them, and they're kind of in a formation flying. And you're like, okay, what is that? That's not going to really move the needle, me posting that. So that's when I kind of, out of necessity, was like, okay, well, if I really am serious about this, I might need to move on to a nicer camera. But yeah, so in terms of ramping up with the phenomenon, I'd say that even the first day I went out, I would notice a couple things that are unique. But you never know for sure because, you're in your infancy of observing, and it really takes experience from, observing from a long time in one location to understand all the local phenomena that can occur. And that's just how it works. I mean, I had to learn about all the for example, the Baltimore State Police, they run helicopter training on Wednesdays, and flying 100 feet over me, and they do this like twice a month. So it's like, I had to learn that because I was like, what the heck is all this crap? Are they on to me? So, you really have to kind of take it one step at a time. But February 2024, that was my big sighting. And I mean, I still remember it. I didn't have my camera at the time because I was just kind of like when I first started doing this, what I would do is kind of go outside without my camera first and kind of look up, because at the time I wasn't sure if the art of the experience or trying to record the object would play an impact and success.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone away from that. I don't think there's too much of that, even though there's a lot of people that say that does play a factor. I don't think it does. Not for me, at least. 2024, I started trying to capture, and that's when I went out on my Jeep one night, leaned up against it. I was having a smoke, and just 150 feet up, orb kind of came over the tree line, little orange one, just shot off. I mean, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I instantly had an emotional reaction, bust down into tears. I don't know if it was validation or just the nature of it. I think a little bit of column A and B there. But immediately upon this happening, once I kind of calmed down, I went to get my wife to tell her about it, because, she's my A1 since day one, dude. I mean, I love my lady, and kudos to her for letting me get away with going outside 1 to 3 hours every night and recording. A real trooper. But yeah, so I went and get her. I pull her out and explained it to her. And I told her that, well, as a precursor to me seeing the sighting, and it's something I didn't tell you, is I had to say, show me something up to the sky. And I didn't have to, I guess I should say, but that's how I would engage a lot of times, just talking up to the sky and then being like, hey, what do you got for me today? So to speak, trying to be nonchalant about it. And I told her that. So we went out and nothing for maybe 10 minutes. And then I told her that little tidbit. Well, maybe you have to say, show me something, or ask for it. And she said, show me something. And I wish I could say it was like, but it was like maybe a minute and a half later, we were just chatting, and one, boom, same thing happened. This time we didn't see it float up. We just saw it shoot. And then we kind of had that moment of like, did you see that? Are we on the same page here? And of course she did. And we kind of had a moment of like calming down. That's crazy. And then, out of, I guess, kind of just trying to rationalize it, she goes, well, hey, maybe that could have been just the craziest low shooting star we've ever seen in our life. And it's like, as if by demand, dude, this one was immediate. Another one shot the opposite direction. So since that day, man, I became Captain Ahab, and my white whale's out there. And so I record every couple hours trying to find it, and haven't quite found something to that caliber yet. A couple ones that are close, in my opinion, but it's been a really fun and rewarding year and a half now that I've been doing this.
And the when you have a sighting with another person, I think we talked about this previously, but it's, for me, I'd had a sighting where I'd spoken about it quite a few times now, where I'd seen something in the garden, and I'm spending my time trying to rationalize it, even though people send me footage, and I'm constantly going, well, look, that doesn't make any sense, and I'm trying to run through all of these different things. And then when I have my own sighting, I'm like so much more skeptical than anybody else's, because it's like, no, there's got to be a reason. It can't be. I can't be fooled, or whatever it is. And then you get to a realization, like, there's nothing that makes sense for this to be conventional or prosaic. And then there's that feeling of, okay, I didn't capture it on camera. Okay, nobody was with me. Mm-hmm. And I can imagine, and I certainly, from speaking to other people, having that person with you, a friend, a partner, whatever it is, that also sees it, is this sense of validation. Did you get that? Did you have that thought process at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've had all these settings that I've kind of recorded in the past, but even recording it is like, you show this to people and they're like, well, it's not the same as being there. And being there, it was, and I think it's funny you say that, because it does bring up an interesting tidbit that I forgot to bring up last time. And I think it's something inside me where I still try to rationalize it away, even though even though I'm a true believer, I try to rationalize it away. So I always forget to add the tidbit that I know for a fact that my AirPods were fully charged, and right before it shot off, they died. So I always forget to add that little tidbit because it just seems like, who can say? But I remember seeing that green dot. I remember it. And fully dead in like 5 minutes. So pretty wild to me. And yeah, having the validation, having my wife there, certainly we talk about it from time to time, and it just really helps solidify both our beliefs in at least that there's something to it. Now, what exactly it is, we're not sure, but it's really fun.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I know that feeling. Seeing footage on camera on a screen is just there's nothing like it. There's no comparison to the real thing. You're looking at something and it's you can describe it as the size of your fist. In front of your hand. In front of your face. But then when you're looking at this through a screen, it's your tiny little dot, and then you're trying to show people, and they go, "Yeah, it was incredible." And you're looking at it, going, "Oh, I can't really see much from this footage." It's difficult. Some's obviously better than others, but yeah. So you've captured some footage there, haven't you? You've got some, that's part of the reason why I've just sort of found you and saw you was because you're posting this really interesting footage online, mostly on X that I've seen. And I'm like, okay, who's this guy? Hence why I reached out. But loads of footage, really interesting stuff, clearly using some decent kit, which we don't often see. A lot of the footage is just iPhone, obviously calibrated for, selfies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a sighting, haven't you, that we talked about beforehand that you might be able to show us, and that'd be an interesting one, I think, for viewers to have a look at and get an idea of your setup of your camera.
Yeah, sure.
And some of the footage.
Yeah, let me pull it up and I'll share my screen here. Okay. So I like to add this little shot beforehand because it shows a plane coming across here and what they typically look like when they're flying at the 8,000 foot range. So this was one of the coolest nights I've ever had. This was low floating orbs night, July 21st. I caught this one and you can kind of hear the little tone, the beeps occasionally coming through. There it was. I was using like this tone that apparently was released that Skywatcher uses.
A dog whistle.
The dog whistle. Yeah.
So yeah.
Here's 15 minutes later the same night. So I saw that one putz across and then another one. Here's a fast one. Not super fast, but faster than the typical ones I see. All right, let's get into some of the hypersonic ones. So these ones are always cool. Let's pause right here real fast, and I like to show typically what a meteor looks like. This is a meteor I caught. So they just look a little bit different from my experience when I actually capture a meteor versus what these ones are. But, still keeping an open mind. So yeah, here's that fast one once more. And I wanted to show the little green pulse at the end when we do a slow-mo zoom here. Right here at the end. Another floaty boy. This is cool because I was starting to see some formations. And here's probably my coolest capture of all time. Out of a thunderstorm, fast one, and it actually shows non-linear. It kind of dips and does a little ebb and flow thing if you look at it really closely. Here's one more of it, and you get that lightning in the back. Oh, it's so cool.
Well, that's unique.
Love that one.
I've never seen that before.
Another two-step formation here. A lot of these remind me of the ones that Patrick Jackson share of his
sphere network.
Sphere network theory, yeah. Turn this down a little bit. This is probably one of my other favorite ones, specifically because it was an overcast night at 8,000 feet and overcast at 20,000, and then So, I mean, you're basically, it's just showing up through completely overcast clouds. And that's one of the things that I think helps me being a meteorologist. This one was cool because I caught it a little bit earlier in the day, right as the sun was going down.
These are incredible. So people are going to ask the question, how do you know they're not Starlink? How do you know they're not aeroplanes, drones, that sort of thing? And obviously, you know, your experience answers a lot of that. Are you, when you're getting, so for example, when you got that incredible thing that seemed to come out of a thunderstorm or at the same time as lightning, are you going back and sort of checking the apps to see what's out at the time, making sure it's, you know what's in the sky around that point?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I have Flight Tracker 24. I think it's the most common used app on my phone, but I also have Stellarium. I actually have a Python script that was given to me by Bob McGuire from Twitter. I don't know if you know the man, but he wrote He wrote this very awesome script that takes your positioning and shows you all the visible Starlinks that'll be available to you. Yeah, it's not running, so I would show you if I had it running. But okay, let's go back to this one because this one's so cool. This is the sighting that solidified mimicry for me. This one here. And, you know, you see a plane kind of going by there on the right. This one. A dog. So you see it start to blink off here.
Yeah.
And, you know, banking plane, but there's no plane on Flight Tracker, so who knows? And then this was my orb swarm sighting. This is probably one of the last good ones we'll go through. I just kept seeing them putz up over my house here. And then I go off to the left and there's like 6 or 7 of them. Let's let that finish up. This was during the peak of drone 2024.
Yeah.
These are all these ones. These last couple were all right from the peak of the drones.
Did you capture any of that? Any of the do you think any of those related objects? Or
I did. Now the hard thing for me is like when I share those, it feels silly because the drones are obviously mimicking planes or like made to look like planes or from whatever capacity. So whenever I share them, it's like I feel a little off doing so. So I only share the best ones that I find. There's one of me smack talking one, which is pretty. People seem to like that one. I'm like, dude, what are you downloaded the wrong blueprint, buddy? People love that one. We can share it if you want, but it's a little different. All right, so that's it. This one was cool because I hit some. You can see some move in there after I hit it with my trail lights on my car. So these are my high beams. I have these trail grade high beams on my Jeep Wrangler, and I just kind of toggled them at the sky. This is trying to do something that Ranger H showed me that he does with spotlights, and then you see a couple kind of come in and just really cool stuff, man. So I really think that there's like if you engage, you can kind of get something back, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right, well that's that. So thanks for letting me show that.
Very, very cool. So let's sort of move on. So you've got the interest, you've got the, you know, you're out there, you're recording, you've had this sighting, it's reinforced, you've got your partner there, you know, she's seen it, you know something's going on, you've got this feeling that, as do I, that there's this consciousness connection, this some form of communication, telepathic, whatever it is. And then you're like, what more can I do? And so you've created, so obviously, you know, this is your background, your bread and butter, so to speak. You've created an app, is it, or a software? Can you talk us through that and what's that about? How did that come to life?
Yeah, sure. So the idea was, I'm a DevOps engineer. I was in between jobs at the time. I was trying to put together a small home lab to kind of demonstrate my skill set. So showcasing how I know how to do automated deployments and all that good stuff. This seemed like a fun little front end to put together to showcase all the other stuff. And then obviously all that other stuff just immediately went on the back burner and I became obsessed with the app. So it's just, it kind of spawned from that. I would say that right now, if I share the app, you'll see it looks way different than phase one inception. This app started as conceptually as Hot or Not from the social network, but with UFOs. So it would just be 2 UFO screens. You pick one, and then it does the whole chess algorithm scoring, rated scoring to kind of whoever wins, it'll bump their elo up or down based on that. So we did that for a while and I say I built the site, but at the beginning, I partnered with Think Tank 528 Vibes on X to this guy's been meticulously posting videos since 2020, typically with date, time, location, when he has it. So it seemed like a good person to engage with at the beginning. So I scraped his entire feed. It was something like 6,000 videos, got down all the non-UFO stuff, because there was a lot of that, got it down to about 2,500 or so videos. And then pulled them in and just kind of started the process of having people play around with the app and get scoring put together for the videos. Later on, we were looking at it, and he's not really a developer background, but he's more of I don't know, he's got some good ideas. So he'll shoot some ideas off to me, and I'll see if I can make them happen. So yeah, we added geomapping and class morphism, all these really cool looking things to make it look really nice. And now we just scrape. So every video that we see that we find worthy of pulling in, if you comment on Reddit, UFO Battler, or hashtag UFO Battler on X, it'll get flagged for ingest. And so then at the end of the day, I'll review like 20 or so videos that get flagged, see if I like them enough to pull them in, which you see what I share, man. It's like, they got to be real bad for me not to pull them in, right? I'm a sharing is caring guy, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Does it work when you scrape? I mean, I'm not technical like you, but when you scrape, can that go through things like Instagram? Can it go through some of the other platforms, TikTok, that sort of thing, or are you specific to certain platforms?
I'm specific to X and Reddit, not because I want to be. It's just the level of knowledge and time to get those other apps incorporated into the existing ecosystem would be tough. Yeah. Because I'll show it to you, but as you click into the videos, you can link back to the parent X tweet, and that's kind of whole part of it. Is we don't want to be tracking user info at all. We just want the videos, and then you can link back to the user info and the parent source. That's the way we want to do it.
That makes sense. And to be fair, I think almost all good UFO footage will be shared amongst all of those different platforms, won't they? And people will sort of share and go, "This is cool," and then it'll get onto Reddit, and it'll get onto X, and this is,
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess it's gonna turn up anyway. Can we have a look at it? Are you able to bring that up so we can have a look at how it works?
Yeah, and let me just say, this is what the Enigma app. This is what they should be striving for. All of these, not to say that they're poor, man. It's just they have so much good data, and the way that they display it is not ideal from a dev standpoint. So this is UFO Battler, and I guess I'll put you here first because this is what it started as, the basic Hot or Not. So you get the 2 videos, you pick the better one, and you'll see when you do it, you'll see the score increase and decrease accordingly, and you just get a new one. Eventually, we changed that up, and we wanted the homepage to be more geomapping focus. So you can see here all sightings. We got sightings from even a day ago. I think this is the one from the IIS that was kind of big yesterday. There was this cool one in Scottsdale a couple of days ago. I think that got potentially debunked as skydivers, which I'm not buying technically yet, but we'll see. A bunch of good stuff over here. You see when it gets ingested, it always gets ingested with a score of 1,000. And, I added a like feature so you can actually increase the scores here. And then you can analyze the footage, and this allows you to share it, and there's comments, and you can link back to the parent tweet. And then we add these UFO observables that are done by tagging. So we have the 5 observables here. If you add like hover and drift, it'll add the positive lift, and then acceleration will be, so you kind of get the idea. It's a good way to kind of narrow it down from an observable standpoint. And one cool thing here is you got all the sightings. So we have 2,500 or so videos, 3,000 I think now, but only 2,824 are geomapped at this time. Slow, arduous process in some regards to do the ones that are in the back burner. The new videos that I adjust, obviously we always pull geodata. One thing you can do is sort by video score here, which this is kind of cool because it's like the leaderboard, but from a geomap standpoint. So you can go through and see currently the top rated video is Ranger H's video. But here you can kind of see it from the leaderboard. And this is the last cool thing I want to show is tag searching. So you can search by things. So anything that we have a tag, say formation, this is kind of one that I like to share with Patrick Jackson and his fans of all these 3 orb formations that I've found.
Yeah. And I love that. The searchability and the functionality of it is fantastic. Being able to, that's great. That's
really
you
can
good.
go through and search for orbit and do just IIS feeds if you want. There's like 39 of that. So yeah, I mean, it's really cool going through. I mean, you can do the jellyfish one as a fruitful tag because that's the one that's like an amorphous blob.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're hearing background noise, by the way.
That's okay. Yeah, it's for research wise, I mean, that's fantastic because it's such a mess on X and Instagram, and, you just get random stuff pop up and then you get someone trying to sell you diet pills in between and, but to be able to just search for a hashtag for the very specifics and then get a load of them is great.
All these sites that do this kind of thing, they don't allow scraping for whatever reason. We do. You can literally go in and save the video as, or open the video in a new tab and you'll see the actual direct MP4 link. So yeah, I mean, we're doing all we can to really try to push the buck. The web app is like really nicely put together as well. So, I mean, you see the format that we have here. We did our best to kind of display this as a mobile friendly version as well, which I think is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, you can see, dude, there's just so many good sightings. And if you go down the rabbit hole of spending maybe 20 or 30 minutes on this site, I would be very shocked if you don't think there's more to UFOs than when you started. If you take it, if you really go through it earnestly. Just my opinion.
That's awesome, man. That's brilliant. What a fantastic resource. And it's clearly taking you some time to put that together and a lot of thought and a lot of effort. That's awesome, man. So is that a product that you have to pay for? Is there a fee to get to sign up? How does it work?
Nah, dude. I just pay for it out of my pocket. The goodness of my heart, it's probably like $20 a month or something that I get charged for hosting and all the good stuff. But I'm in a position where this is kind of like my obsession at this moment. So, passing away $20 a month is something I have the luxury of doing to host this.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, there you go.
Awesome. We don't collect data. We got an iOS app. I think the Play app's pending, but you can go through and right click apps in Google Play and create an app that's a React app on your home screen. So the functionality is there.
Definitely. And I know that was a bit of a concern for some people. It was a bit of a concern for me with Enigma. And I know that there was some discussions that went back and forth a while ago about data collection and who owns it and who runs it and where does the information go, and a little bit shady. But, it's the lack of transparency. It could be that it's a case that there's no issues there at all, but it's just if we don't address the suspicions, then it's kind of,
it's like I don't fault them because there's no way, like, what are you going to do to profitize an app like that? The only way you can really do it is by either charging a fee, adding in ads, or collecting user data. That's the bread and butter. Those are the 3 ways you have to make money on an app these days, typically. And what else are you going to do besides collecting user data? That's all you can really do. So that's your data, that's your money, so to speak. So yeah, we're not doing any of that. Just trying to keep it as open source as possible. I actually shared the entire site open source, sans the videos, maybe a few months ago. Not all the features, but there's a GitHub repo somewhere with it. So
awesome, fantastic. Well, what do you think then? So you've spent this time now with you've been looking, you've been out, you've been filming, you're collecting data, you're researching data. You're spending a lot of time thinking about the subject and sitting out there at night trying to film stuff, as most of us do now that are really interested in the subject. They get out there and they look up. And what are your thoughts on that connection then? What have you got? I like to ask this, and I know it can be quite a complicated question because sometimes the answer is I've got no idea. But some people have sort of manage to guide their opinion into one direction? Maybe not I'm certain this is what we're seeing, but a direction. Are you going in a direction? Have you got an idea?
As far as what we're looking at?
Yeah, what we're seeing.
I wish I had more of a solidified answer to this. I think that it's ever evolving for me. I certainly am in the agreement that we're looking at something that's been here for a long time. I see things like Patrick Jackson's sphere network theory, and I lean towards it because it makes sense, but then also I don't think it's complete. I think there are some pieces of it that are missing. For example, it's not accounting for how these craft change over the years and how, we used to see all these flying saucers and now we see spheres. It's obvious that the things are evolving too. I wish I definitely think there's some kind of spiritual and consciousness connection to it. I'm not going to deny that. I've also tried some different mechanisms to kind of stroke the phenomenon to like what works for me to get it to come out. And, like, for example, you heard me with the dog whistle earlier. I had varying degrees of success with that. What I always find, Jimmy, is that the first time I try something, it's like a way better chance. So it's like I have to just keep getting creative. It's weird because if I get stagnant and just try to use the tone every time, it stops working. So I try something else, and then whoa, that worked. I'll get one of those cheapo orb balls you can get for $9.99 on Amazon, and I'll just chuck it up. That worked for a few days. Then it stopped working. Then I started flashing my high beams at them. That worked. Then it stopped working. So it's weird. It's just like you have to kind of be ever playful and evolving and just thinking about ways to engage.
Sort of seems like it touches on that intention thing, doesn't it? Because if your intention is, I'm excited, I'm positive feelings, I hope this is going to work, and then you try this new thing and it works, and then the next time it's kind of like, well, this will work. The intention there seems to have switched from, I hope this does, I've got really real positive intentions, mixed with or swapped to the next times, this is going to happen, this is going to work because it happened before. And I know I'm just speculating, of course, but It's that slight switch that could make some sense.
I think you might be onto something for sure. I think it likes the feedback. They like the feedback. So it's like the first time that it works for you, you're probably not expecting it to work. And when it works, you're like, whoa. And they like that whoa. They feed off that whoa, so to speak. So yeah, I think that that definitely, that rings true to me. What you said. Mm-hmm. Last piece though is I think I was getting on the Bangstein method, and that's currently the method that I've been using to the most degree of success. In which case I'll kind of just like do manifestation, rapid imaging for a few images or a few minutes while I got the camera posted up outside. I'll just like look through the lens, take in the stars that I see, take in the tree line, close the eyes, visualize getting a sighting, visualize me the next day uploading it to Twitter, making the tags, saying this is crazy, all the little things you do, you really try to visualize that. And lately by doing that, I've had a pretty good degree of success as well. So, but who knows, man, it just keeps changing.
Yeah. Mysterious. Likes to be mysterious.
Mm-hmm. If only it was that easy.
Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? This is why we got so excited when we saw Skywatcher come out and said, we've got a device. Okay, brilliant. Let's share the device around, give everyone one of these devices. We'll all get outside with a device and just, put a dog whistle up and we'll all see something and magically have collective, disclosure. But then it doesn't work every time. It doesn't work with everyone. You've got to be in the right frame of mind. And
yeah. Also the obsession with peer review that Skywatcher got into after initially saying that they were just going to release footage. It irks me. I mean, I don't really just sharing is caring, man. Get the stuff out there so that we can look at it, because the court of public opinion is going to, even if you get this information validated by third-party sources, the court of public opinion is not going to change. You're still going to get these people that are like, nah, it's a light in the sky. Like, what are you talking about? So just share it.
I completely agree. And I mean, I kind of understand it. I had, I don't know if you, I'm sure you're aware of the Galileo project. I've got a friend, Ezra Kelderman, who Yeah, Avi runs it, and Ezra Kelderman is the project manager for the Galileo project. So he does the day-to-day stuff and sets up. He's a systems engineer. Awesome guy, good friend. He's been on the podcast, I think, 3 times now. But I was having this conversation with him about like, what have you guys found, or when are you going to like show us the best stuff? Because they've got millions of, you know, some of the best technology, and I think they've got 3 sites now, and one in Las Vegas now on the big dome thing as well
on the Sphere, yep.
Yeah, Sphere, that's it. Yeah. And so I'm like, you've got to have some incredible stuff. Let us see it. Like, no, but the second that we put something out that we think is anomalous, and then it turns out not to be, potentially the whole project is kind of like, people are going to look at that and say, okay, well, it's like, yeah, but they're putting out pictures of birds or videos of birds. And
you're Lou Elizondo with the crop circle, right?
Yeah, so exactly. So you've got, I understand it from both sides. Like I'm the side of just like, show me, I really want to see it. But I'm also understand that if you're one of the very few organizations that are trying to massively collect all of this data over these different sites, you've got to stay really close. You're going to keep the data really close to your chest until you can put it through all of this scientific stuff and make it beyond reproach, and absolutely done our due diligence. And this is what we've got, and we stand behind it. So I do get that, but I still want to see it.
Well, hopefully Beatrice's study really just takes off, man. I mean, I don't know if you've been following that, but the post that she had yesterday saying that, there's 7 different things that people need to account for if you want to write this off as non-interesting. And there's been no theory that's accounted for more than 1 of the 7. So it's like everybody's just plate defects. It's
crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But that's a beautiful example of having that, great example there. Of having fantastic data. And, she's put a lot of time in with her team into getting to that position where she could come out and go, we've got this, good luck trying to debunk it, basically. You need all these 7, and you can't even get past 1. Yeah, more of that. I mean, it's great, though. It's a great sign, isn't it, that we've got people that are involved in science and academia going, look, I'll put my reputation on the line and go, I'm going to spend time looking at this, and then I'm going to show it to the public.
It really makes you optimistic, man. It makes you optimistic that the next 5 years we really can push the needle. I mean, everybody just, the naysayers are like, yeah, but this has happened before. We've gotten here before. And I'm like, I didn't live through those times as a believer, so it's hard for me to say, but it really does not feel like we've ever had public momentum even close to where it's at now. To the point where I hear people have casual conversations with this at Starbucks, just in passing. So it's like, this is getting out there. People are interested in the subject, and it has, like we talked about earlier, it has this way of just becoming all encompassing because it breaks down your worldview. So it's almost impossible not to talk about it, which is why I almost don't even fault the debunkers. That just they don't even want it. They want their narrow worldview. And if you believe about the expectation effect, which I kind of do, they'll never see it if they keep adopting that philosophy, which is okay, but maybe that's what they want. But if you want to actually see it, you have to kind of get outside your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, absolutely. But they've still got that obsession with it. It's just from a slightly different angle, isn't it? It's still an obsession with the phenomena. Still got to, spend time looking at it. It's like, okay, I'm taking a different view, but I'm obsessed with it. Like, well, it's gripped you as well, isn't it? It's got its claws into you as well. So, yeah,
it's
awesome.
It's the anti-religion, I guess you could say, right? We get the other side of the coin. If you're into UFOs, not into UFOs, equally obsessed.
Kyle, look, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. I really appreciate you talking to me, and thanks for sharing your footage. And keep doing what you do, man. It's fantastic, and I'm gonna be all over that app, and using it from tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Just keep sharing it out there. I get people message me all the day. People from Skywatcher have messaged me. People from Newfork. People from ASA. They like the app. So just keep getting attaboys like you just said. So I really appreciate that, man. We're just going to keep doing everything we can to make the user experience as good as possible for everyone. And I'm going to be out there every night with my camera. So follow me on X if you're interested, @SysBadman. Appreciate your time, man.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Really, really appreciate it. Stay in touch, man. Speak soon.